Welcome everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve Tek, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Talia.
And I'm Tek Luciano. You may have heard me on radio, you may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Y'all gon' learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break a fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the Hustle Podcast, episode 57. I'm Tek.
I'm Steve.
And we got Vincent Pryce in the building.
Motherfucking building.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, mad scientist behind the boards. It's nice to have you in the building. I've actually wanted to have him on for a while. We talked about it.
We've been talking about this for at least 30 episodes.
Okay.
30 episodes. You've been on the list. We have a list of people that we want to get on this show. And the thing is, with some people, I feel like I got to wait a bit. I got to build up the viewership before Vincent Pryce, like, I can't come on the show, bro, because you only have fucking 20 people following you. So now that we have 775 followers on Instagram,
he's flexing. Steve's flexing right now.
348 on YouTube.
Bang, bang.
I think
It's climbing.
Yeah.
It's climbing.
So, like, I remember Vincent Pryce, bro, back Murderface days.
Yeah.
When I used to go to the shows, bro, and Murderface was, like, on the bill, bro, I used to want to fight fucking somebody when I heard that shit. You know what I mean? Fuck a Murderface.
But we did a few shows with you.
Yeah, we did a few shows with you, but we always had a great time doing shows back in the day. You know what I mean?
No doubt.
What I want to know, like, give us the rundown of how Murderface came to be. How did these individuals come together and say we're gonna fucking rap the most goriest shit and some hardcore murder rap?
But that's the thing. Like the name, it was kind of deceiving because like we only had one project. It was an EP.
Yeah.
I think it was seven tracks or whatever, and each track was pretty different. So it was like a party vibe. We had I had the late night track. We had then we had like the in your face like track that we do.
That's the one I always remember.
Fucking Murderface. Yeah. Then we had Sick, which was just like no chorus, nothing, just like bars, just spitting everyone. Like I think Shells had like a fucking like 64 bars. And crazy. Like he raps for like 2 minutes. Like, so yeah, you know, the name was a bit deceiving. People were like, "Oh, you're horrorcore." It's yeah, we were aggressive and like, you know, but to be pigeonholed into like, oh, is this horrorcore? Like I always kind of like resented that. I know the name doesn't help.
It's not Brother Lynch or Hung or anything.
Yeah, you don't want to go down the twisted vibe. You know what I mean? Like no face paint.
It's just that when you guys were performing, that fucking remember that energy
for sure. Yeah,
shouting and everything like that. Shells always killed it. Sin always killed it.
So Cynical by himself, bro. Like
he's like a huge presence.
I would love to have him on too. Shout out to Cynical,
definitely
for sure.
He's on the list. He's already on the list. Yeah. So how did you guys meet, bro? Like, was it a high school thing? Were you guys going to school together?
I grew up in NDG. They're from Uptown, and CL's kind of from Uptown too. But I met them. Sin and Shells from Logic's. Through Logic's at his studio. I would, and my boy Max, shout out to Coma, he introduced me to Logic's and C's Rock, and that because he went to school with C's, and I forget how I knew him because he went to St. Luke, I went to Marymount, and we just met through NDG. It was just like common, people that age group, whatever. I was like making some beats, and I had showed him stuff, and then he was just like, "Yo, you got to work with C's Rock." So he's like, "Send me some beats," and then I sent a beat. He's like, "Oh, these are crazy." This is like 2006, I want to say, yeah, about then. So then Logic, you know, some years pass. I'm still doing some stuff with Logic, and then he had his loft in his studio right next to Monkey. That was like a legendary place. That was like I met so many artists, like graffiti artists, and like just like rappers, producers, painters. Just like it was this crossroads of like people meet people from the street too, because other things were going on, but. And then he built like he built a booth there and shit. Anyway, so I met Josh, Cynical, and Shells because they were in a group with Logic's, the Royal Peasants. So
hold on. We gotta pause right there because that's a legendary name drop right there. Royal Peasants. Well, Blast was a part of that too.
Blast,
he was. That's when he
Street Saver stuff
transitioned to Real Big Records at the time, and bro, we just went back.
Damn, Lost One, can't forget Lost.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Damn, we just went back, bro. That brought me back. That's a moment in Montreal hip hop history right there, bro.
For sure.
Big time.
So that's when the link started getting formed.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I'd met them a few times, and then like I was always like at Logic's playing beats or whatever, recording. Like even though like I've known we don't have that much music together. Mm-hmm. I worked a lot more with like Siege Rock and stuff. And then it was they had a mixtape. It was called Winter Wars Volume 1 and 2. And I had like a bunch of tracks in there. I even rapped like back when I like used to rap. And, so then like a few years, passed and I was like doing some stuff with CL, and I was just like, yo, we should do like a group. I'll make the beats and you and Sin will rap. And he was just like, yeah, I'm down.
Shout out to Crack Lips.
And then we broached the subject to Sin. He was like, "Yeah, I'm down." He's like, "But Shells has got to come too," because they were rapping a lot together at that point. So I was like, "Yeah, for sure," And then it just kind of happened like organically. They would come to my house. I'd play beats. We'd write. So they would freestyle first, and then then we just made slowly. Tracks came together. Then we recorded it at this dude Soke.
That's
another name drop right there. Banks and Ranks, bro. So, doing big things.
That was cool. We recorded. We pretty much banged out that whole EP in like 1 or 2 sessions. Like,
how did the name get? Who chose the name?
I came up with the name. It was just like one.
Really?
Yeah.
I felt like it was Cracked Lips. I don't know. For some reason, I feel like that was his
like
shit.
Murderface was my like kind of brainchild.
Okay,
like,
that's what's up.
I was like one name was like Montreal Massacre or something I don't know. I was
too local. Yeah,
it just sounds like a bad punk.
That's
band,
it. I'm just like you don't want a name with the shit. Like you kind of like
pigeonhole yourself.
Yeah, that's it. Or you like limit what you like. You want something.
So were you like the RZA, the Abbott of the whole thing? Like this is.
You could say that.
This is what we're doing. This is the plan. This is the name.
Kind of, but without like I wasn't like I didn't have like a huge plan, but I was just like I knew what I. Like aesthetically and the sound like that I wanted or whatever, I'd come do that, and I would kind of just let them do what they're, they would come up with. I think I came up with maybe like 1 or 2 of the concepts of the tracks or whatever, but it was pretty much just like whoever liked the beat, all right, we get on, and then
Dope.
It just kind of happened like that.
And you mentioned that there was only one project, you guys. I didn't even realize that there was only one project that you made.
Just like,
because you were doing so many shows back then, you know what I mean? You're always rocking the fucking shows.
Yeah, they were on the circuit the same time we were on the circuit. We were all on the circuit at the same time. That was a fucking great time in Montreal hip hop. Like I look back on it and I remember feeling like it wasn't at the time. Yeah. But looking back on it now, I'm like, yo, that was a moment, bro.
Well, yeah, because it was like it was a weird time too, because like the internet was like social media wasn't really like, there was like MySpace and like, SoundCloud, like you put your music and like you could kind of go viral, but it was like not like,
yet though. Like,
it was just like there was like a few people MySpace, and then you could start putting your music on MySpace. We had a MySpace, I think, even like, and then it was just we recorded that one project. We did like a bunch of CL got us a lot of the shows. Like he was really good at that, and I don't know if he linked us up with Perry, but Perry got us like a bunch of shows, and he really like loved what we were doing.
Back then, Perry, like I think was the gatekeeper when it came to the shows. Like we had
him and Dutch, and like I wasn't I didn't know Dutch that much. Like I knew people like that were like really good friends with him, that I became good friends with like after he had passed. Yeah. So like I had met him like a handful of times, and I never really like, he like kind of knew who I was or whatever, but like it was more like people that I knew like worked with him or whatever. So I was still kind of like working up, working up the ranks of becoming like.
Back then, Perry, Dutch, and these guys, they were putting on these shows that But every like couple of weeks there was a great show.
Yeah, it was great.
Now it's not the same. Like, okay, there's still shows going on, but half these guys like, hey, I'm not like really into they're like too young for me. These artists.
We're not on the scene anymore.
We're not on the scene anymore.
But the scene has changed.
But it has changed, and the amount of shows is way less.
And it was a great way to showcase, like artists from the city. It's like you have maybe like 1 or 2, 3 openers from the city, and like you know, and they learn how to do shows and work the crowd, and that just helps. It's just like it was like a bit delusional to think like, oh, I'm going to open up for this, and then everything's. It's just like it's like it's something to add to your resume.
But there was a beauty to it back then. Looking back on it now, as it was there was a community back then. It really was, and we were all just coming up, owning our skills and sharpening our swords, and it was a beautiful time in Montreal hip hop history. That I think that it's cool that we're shining a light on it now, because I think that the younger generation has no idea that this happened. They really have no idea, bro. That we were paving the way for these guys.
We did a show for open for Tech 9, and like we performed, like the place was packed and people were still coming in. Like when we get on stage, like that show was insane. And he was there when we were doing a sound check, and he was like there, and he like heard some of our songs. He was like, da, da, da. Like I remember we like prepared for that show. We like rented out like a jam space, and we like. We came out with like ski masks on. Shout out to Buddha Blaze.
Shout out to Buddha, man.
He was like, yo, you guys, he's like, this could be really good for you guys. He's like, we got to practice this and like make it, so we like actually put some like real.
So effort. hold on, modern day rappers. So you're telling me that we were actually rehearsing our sets back then?
Not rapping over the track, not rapping over vocals.
Wow.
We'd maybe have the hook part, but it's just like
So we're hearing all this. Murderface is doing its thing, bro.
Yeah,
doing shows after shows. The project, we dropped that one project. What happened after that, bro? How come Murderface disbanded? Was it some ego shit, or
it was a few factors, I guess. Like, me not being like assertive enough and taking the shit by the reins, and like just being like, all right, this is where I tried to do that, but I'm just like, I'm not like, my personality is not very like a super dominant person, like so I was just like, sometimes I would feel ways about being like, all right, we're gonna do that, I didn't want to like feel like I'm like telling people what to do, but looking back on it, I'm like, oh, I should have took more like certain things I did. Like I made the album cover. I got all the t-shirts printed. I uploaded all the shit. I personally burned all the CDs. Wow. I had like a laptop at the time that you could burn images onto the disc. If you got like the special. Right. So I did that. Like the first like maybe 50 or 100 like copies that we sold were like had like the skull on the CD and everything. And so like I put I got the shirts, I picked them up. Like I could have called Shells and been like, yo, come help me give it, but I was just like, I just did it all on my own. And and then so any money that I put into it or whatever, I just like I think I asked them for like money for the t-shirts or whatever. And whatever, we recouped on that, and it just kind of just like went back into we didn't have that much merch. We had like some t-shirts or whatever, and we had the CDs. We should have probably had some stickers and whatever, but so anyways, I had some ideas for like a follow-up project, and like I wanted to do like this project called like Murderface, and it was just like all these like, because at that time I had started to get into like doing like trap beats and like not so much dubstep, but a bit more like electronic sounding
like grimy,
stuff. Yeah, I was just like, because I'd gone to some raves and I was like, yo, this is like this is the next level of shit, and like so I like kind of challenged myself in to switch up the style of like beats that I was doing, sure. And then I think we recorded like a few songs that like we just nothing happened. Then we were just kind of like going off of all the shows that we had done, and having a buzz about us, but we kind of just like rested on our laurels a bit too much, and just like let that go to our head a bit, and then like just be like, oh, and we just waited too long, and then we just started like we would have meetings, and then like they became like fewer and far between, and then we would just like kind of like personalities would just start to clash. And then like me and Shells were kind of just the quiet ones, and like Sin and CO would like argue over things. And it was just like, we were not on the same page. And it was just like, if I had like had a bit more of like direction of where like I wanted to go with it, like I probably could have done.
It's hard because, and it's like, funny because honestly, like I was a part of 2 different crews. Right. Shout out to Famine, shout out to TNT as well. Yeah. And the story that you just told is literally feel like you're recounting my own story back to me. So it's not unique in that aspect. It's all good. But it's like it's when there's so many heads involved in one thing, and then you also have to factor in, if you're dealing with rappers, there's gonna be egos. You know what I mean? And it's like once you lose that direction, it just all goes to shit.
Then we also like joined with this other bigger crew called Gigante, and it was like it was basically like the whole of the Montreal like underground scene, or like a lot of.
I remember that. But that was like short-lived as fuck.
It was, but we did a bunch of shows. Like basically, we like prepaid to do a bunch of shows at Opatch Levis, and so it was like we paid like a one-shot thing, and we were like, oh, we have like the venue for 10 shows. Like, so we would just like we build it up to like, oh, it was like the album release of Murderface. So there was like Boom Bap Cats, and there was like Logic Johnson, Slick Jack. What's his name? Spook One was part of that crew. Then there were some DJs and producers like Dialect, Manzo, Katola was part of it. But then it's just like too many cooks. It's just like, all right, we have like groups within crew, and then there's like, oh, and we're like just this one like entity, and it was just like too many. We had like a few meetings, and like the shows went, pretty well, because it was just like a bunch of people who all, to get like individually have their own fans or whatever. So when we would do a show, it would just be like, oh, we're going to do a show with this one solo artist, this group, and this DJ opening. So it was just like this kind of shuffling of the people, the acts or whatever. Yeah. And we actually made some decent money on those shows because we had all, prepaid for them. So it was cheaper. And then each show we made more money. And then we even had like a treasury. We're like, all right, we can actually we can bank out, or we can, put more money back in and get other shows. And we kind of all chose to like bank out. And then it just kind of dissolved after that. And then Murderface kind of dissolved after that too. Cause it was just like, it's like, what are we doing? Like some people in Murderface weren't super down with being in Gigante and like this. So it was just like,
it's like opening up 2 McDonald's on the same street.
It's just like, so it was that. And then I started, being like affiliated with the Mook Life crew, and they hadn't done really any like shows or parties yet. It was more just like the graffiti and like the street art stuff.
I remember those stickers were fucking
everywhere.
Tommy Cruz.
But this was before. So then my boy Maps, he was like, yo, we're gonna throw some parties. He's like I know you have like a crazy like lexicon of music, and you're just like, he's like, you should start DJing. And I was just like, yeah, so I borrowed my friend's controller, and I liked it. So I already had like so much music, and I just like kind of practiced for like a week and a half. That's pretty much like all I had. He was like, "Are you ready?" I'm just like, "I guess so." It's just like so. And it was at Koi. The first time I DJ'd was at Koi.
That's what's up.
No, actually, I DJ'd like at one other time on this like small like little thing, and it was just like a nightmare or whatever. Anyway, so I started getting to DJing, and then like doing more like trap and like bass style music, and that was like a phase that I went through. That was probably like 2012, 13 about. So Murderface just kind of like fizzled out, and then I was like still producing or whatever, but I started just focusing more on building myself as like an artist or like a producer, and branching out a bit more.
You had that period of time, bro. You were honing your skills, just making more beats, just pretty much focusing on you. In the back, you're what's it called? You're in the background right now.
Yeah.
How did you get in contact with Perry again? And now I see you're doing a bunch of shit for 100 Mad, bro. Are you part of 100 Mad? Like, are you part of the clique?
Yeah,
I would
more or less. Yeah, I'm
producer.
On the roster of like I have a producer project that's going to be coming out pretty soon. In the next few weeks. The first single is going to be dropping. It's Razcast and Fredro.
That's crazy. He's flossing. He's being humble, but that's a floss right there.
Dude, like Onyx, I remember the first time they came into the city.
Yeah.
we had did a show. Actually, no, that was before. They were at Club Opera. They were
Right.
at Club Opera. They had posted a pic. And they had on their status, looking for a promoter. If you know any promoters or booking agents, hit us up. First thing I do, I call up Perry. I'm like, bro, go to Club Opera right now. Onyx is here. An hour later, I see a picture of Perry like this, with Fredro and Sticky.
That's amazing.
And from there, like I remember he booked a show. We had chipped in on it, like to get them down. I think it was a couple of K.
Right.
So we had thrown in like a third of it. It was that show that we did at on Park Avenue.
Oh yeah.
Park Avenue.
You
bro.
brought Onyx to PX?
Not PX, the Plateau, bro. It was on the Plateau.
Yeah, right on Park.
So I
What's
remember
it? Théâtre de Parc. So, anyways, yeah.
So it was there. That was like the first time these guys performed here.
That's crazy.
And after that, Perry just formed a good relationship, and he became the official manager for it.
Oh wow, for real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's
And he's
wicked.
been rocking, bro. These guys been doing shows left and right.
we opened up for them at that show, but that's kind of that show is like what like soured our relationship with Perry at that time, because we showed up like a bit late. And then he was like, yo, you guys are on. And we're just like, we don't want to go on now, like on some like diva shit. Yeah, there's no one there. No, because he had told us that we were going to go on right before Onyx. And then when we got there, he's like, yeah, Anakin Slade's going on right before Onyx. We were like, what? Fuck that. Oh, this is bullshit. What is this? Da, da, da. We're like, we're going to go on when we, you know, we just got here. Like, we're not ready. Da, da, da. So we like dilly-dallied outside, and it's, you know, and it's like, it's stupid. Like in hindsight, it's just like, just
in
go
hindsight,
on,
definitely. You look back 15, 20 years
it's
ago.
Just
and you're
like,
oh my God,
you know,
shit
it's
that I
just
We
did.
like,
call it I call it rapper shit. That's just rapper
yeah.
shit.
So we're like outside smoking weed, and we're like, oh, we'll go on like when we want to go on, type of thing, kind of.
So after
And then
that,
after that, yeah, I was just like, he was just like, all right, kind of like, fuck these guys, like, you know. And then like, yeah, and then it was like not long after that, like Murderface just law, and then yeah, like I was just over the years, I would just. I started releasing instrumental projects, and then I would do parties with like the Mook Life. So I built myself up as like a solo art. And at that time, it was like a lot more producers were just dropping like instrumental projects and like being DJs. And so I'm like, all right, let me try and go that route and just like still make music with people that like I fuck with, or they approach me or whatever. Like I'll do.
Yeah, you're doing it more for like something you actually want to do, as opposed to like just churning it out to churn it out. You know what I mean? Working with people that you want to work with. You're making things on your own accord. Yeah, that's what you need. And so how the link happened though?
The what?
How did you guys relink? He called you.
He just like he just like hit me up on Facebook. He's like, yo, he's like, give me a. He's like, yo, are you busy? Give me a call or what? So, and I was just like, I called him, and I was like at work, like I had just finished work, and I call him like. I'm like, what does Perry want? Like, like I hadn't spoke to him in years. Actually, no, the last time I had saw him was like 2 years ago, right before COVID. CL was doing opening for Onyx. It was like, I think it was the last time they were here. It was at the Belmont. And it was, and then so I was DJing for CL's set. And then I got there, and then Red's like, my stuff's not like working, syncing up with the da-da-da. He's like, you want to like DJ for a bit? And I was like, all right, cool. And then Onyx was about to go on, and he's like, my shit's not working. He's like, can you DJ for Onyx's set? And I'm just like, are you fucking serious? I was like, all right, cool. Like, I'll do it, So Perry's like, yeah, whatever, just do it. He's like, here's the set list, and here's the order. So I do the first song. And then the second song, I fucked up the tempo somehow, and Fredro like turns around, he looks at me, and he's just like, "What the fuck?" He was like, "What the fuck?" And I was just like, and he was like, "Get the fuck off stage!" He starts yelling at me. He's like, "Get off stage!" And I look at Perry.
He freaked out on Manzo too. The first show I remember.
And apparently he's like famous for doing
the freak out stuff.
Perry. I look at Perry, and he's just like, so I fixed up the tempo, and I keep going. And then I had redeemed myself. Like I just, whatever. I went through it and played the rest of their set, and it went off without a hitch. And then, I'm like downstairs after the show, and we're like talking to them, and I'm like, yeah, I make beats. I have beats. And he was like, oh yeah, you make. I'm talking to Fredro. He's like, yeah, you make beats. I'm like, yeah. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you'll like it. He's like, oh yeah, you think I'll like them? And I'm just like, yeah.
I came up under Jam Master J.
And he was just like, he's like, you cocky, I like that. He's like, you like a young Kanye. I was like, all right, I'll take it. So I I got like him or Sticky's email, and I sent them some beats. I sent Perry them too, and then whatever, nothing came of that. I was just like, okay, whatever. And then so last June, Perry hit me up, and he was like, yo, I'm working on a few things. Send me some beats. So I send him beats. He's like, yo, these are really dope. Send me more. So I send him more. I send him more. I kept sending him packs, like 20, 30 beats. Like by the end of it, I had sent him like something like 94 beats, something like that.
Damn.
And he was like, yo, I'm going to make a producer project. He's like, he calls me and he just starts shooting me names and like, all right, we're going to do this. Then I'm like, all right, cool, man. I'm like, I'm ready. Let's do it, And then I was just like, okay, let's see like what happens with this. It's just like people have told me things before, but then the song started like coming back.
What was the first placement?
I think the first song I got back with this guy Smooth. He's from Long Island. He's like he raps with the Husk Kingpin, and he's like an underling of like Rock Marciano.
Okay.
He's really dope. He's like, I'm supposed to do a project with him
in
the near future. But then at that, I think it was like July, I had my hard drive with all my like beats, and my PC computer had like just crapped out like a few months.
I remember seeing
before.
that post.
Yeah,
everybody was trying to get you money to get your shit.
And I just had my all my beats backed up on my portable USB drive, and I hadn't backed it up yet. And then I had fucking dropped it, and it worked for like a day or two, and then it just stopped working. Crazy. And I brought it to like 3 different places. Sent it to like a lab in Vancouver. They couldn't fix it. It was just like, I just tried everything, and that was like 10 years of music, like all the Murderface shit, all like, I still have the MP3s for a lot of the beats, like 100 of them, but like the project files and like just like everything I had backed up on that. It was like, I think it was just like a terabyte drive or whatever, but
well, now you
10 years of music.
You need 2 backups.
I have 2 backups, and like I have it on the cloud.
You got to have the backups twice, bro.
But it just sucked because it was like all those beats, a lot of them for this project. So some of them I had to like remake. Some of them I had the WAV files for. So it's just like you can still like kind of work with that if the beat is, mixed properly or whatever. So that was like a big fucking hurdle. At the same time, I'm just like, I have like one of the biggest opportunities I've been, offered, and I just like lose 10 years of all my music. But it just kind of like made me, like buckle down. And I was just like, I was making, at the same time I had like, my kid had just been born. He was like maybe like less than a year. He was like a year about, so I'm like dealing with work and dealing with an infant, and just like this. And I was just like, it was like this moment of just like, all right, do you like really like want this? And like, it was like, it just like made me like value, and then COVID was going on at the same time too. Like it was crazy. It was just
you're
like
self-doubting, bro. You were like, fuck this.
For sure,
I'm done with beat making. I got a kid now. I gotta focus on being a man, taking care of my family.
Yeah.
It's one of those situations, I think.
For sure,
But then you got the call, bro, sending those beats, and finally then you got the call back saying, okay, we got this track.
And then he was like, at the beginning there was like 30 possibilities of songs or whatever. We've dropped it. There's like about 10. It's going to be 10 tracks. And whatever. I don't want to say too much about it before.
I saw you went to Vegas. You went to Vegas?
Yeah, I was just in LA in March. Like Perry was like, yo, come down with me. We'll link up with Onyx, Razcast, Husk Kingpin was there. And I was at the video shoot of Onyx's, and then Psycho Les was there, and a bunch of like other some legends, And I linked up with this. There's this A&R there, dude, M80. He works with like Wu-Tang a lot, and like Chino XL and Razcast and Four Horsemen, all that, So yeah, it was just like, it was fun, but it was like 4 or 5 days of just like shot like 4 videos for my project, another like a video for JD Era's thing. Like we went to a show. But we were in the studio recording videos, just like going here, there. Like, it was amazing just being in LA, but it was like, it was work, but it was like.
Well, you saw how things get down,
Well, that's it. I was there, and I'm just like, things just happen here. You like meet people, and it's just like, people just
the
like.
possibilities are just like open.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, you put in
maybe
the work.
going to New York next week with Perry.
Dope.
To rock the bells and
sick.
That should be dope.
Yeah, then they just did a whole like South America tour, no?
Yeah, they were in Chile,
Colombia.
I think they did Peru, Brazil.
Brazil, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I think they did Brazil. A bunch more. I can't remember what,
yeah.
but they did a nice little run. Colombia, I saw the pictures and shit.
Yeah, he said I think that was like the dopest
Yeah.
show.
No, they have a big rap community there too.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. They
So
like
that's
the
dope.
hardcore hip hop.
Yeah, and that's the thing when you go to the South America and you go to Europe and everything, Onyx is like super relevant to this day. You know what I mean? Here it's different in North America because it's the boom bap era. Not many people are into it anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
But when you go down there, bro, it's like it just dropped yesterday or something.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
album just came out. It's nuts.
Although Griselda's kind of bringing that flavor back a little bit. They're spearheading. They spearheaded bringing it back. For sure.
What do you think about that whole beef with Griselda and who is it? Who's that DJ, bro? It's
Funk Flex.
Oh, Funk Flex.
Like he's shitting on them hard, bro.
It's hard for me to shit on Funk Flex because of what he's done for hip hop for so many years. But at the same time, it's like, bro, just stop talking. At a certain point, just shut the fuck up and play music.
Yeah, I don't know. He's been shitting on Kanye hard and everything.
Yeah,
Kanye called him the gatekeeper, saying he's never playing any of their music. And he's like, people don't like your music. That's like, when I heard that, I'm just like...
That's hard for me to believe. But at the same time, it's like you have to understand that Hot 97 is not what Hot 97 was in the 90s. It's a corporate radio. It's part of iHeartRadio, for fuck's sake. Like, they don't necessarily get to choose what they're playing. They're handed a set list.
No, that's
you know,
sure.
like every other corporate radio station. So, you know.
Eh?
I gotta go to the
You can go, man. We'll talk. Don't
We'll
worry
keep
about
on
it.
going on this one.
But I think Flex just needs to stop talking so much, bro. Like it's just I think that Flex has transitioned from this DJ, right? Like legendary DJ'd at the Tunnel, all the early Flex mixtapes in the 90s, to now he's trying to be a media personality, which he is a media personality, but I think he's taking it too far. I think he's trying to be relevant too far.
But he's always been arrogant, if you think about it.
100%.
He's always been arrogant. He's always been that boisterous when he talks and everything, shitting on people.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's mentioning that, like, I think it was Conway, he's like, all the artists you're playing now, it's all Atlanta guys. This, that. And he's like, yo, that's what's hot. That's what's hot. If you make a hot song, I'll play it.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, but still, you know what I mean? You got to play the New York dudes, bro. You're in New York. You can't just play nothing, not one New York guy.
But again, it's a corporate radio station.
It is a corporate.
He's gotta,
it's payola shit. It is what it is.
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's just, I don't know how nobody has smacked the shit out of Flex at this point. Like, I don't get it.
I don't know. It might happen. Did you hear about that China Mac thing recently? I don't know if you've been keeping an eye on China Mac.
No.
Well, there's this what's it called, this YouTube blogger named Miko Worldwide. I don't know if you heard of that.
I feel like
he goes to the most dangerous hoods.
Okay.
Miko Worldwide. I'm in Atlanta.
There was a fight that happened, right?
Well, apparently the guy Miko Worldwide he's a fucking pedophile. So now he's been touching base with all these guys in the streets. He's been touching base with all these guys in the street, you know, doing these videos. I'm in this the most
right,
most
like
fucking fucked up neighborhood,
Yeah.
And people are like, they're bringing him into the circle. And you had China Mac. He brought him to New York, brought him to all the hoods and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody checked this guy's background. Nobody checked his paperwork and everything. And so now this video comes out. It gets like 100K views or like 1 million. Remy Ma's in it and shit like that. You know what I mean? They went on set for a video clip. And the day after, people decide to like check out who is this guy Miko. And they find paperwork on him that says he like raped a 10-year-old boy or something.
What are we talking about,
Yeah,
bro?
crazy shit. So now you had China Mac. He's like, yo, you banned from New York. If you ever come, you're no good. Now this guy posts a video the same night. He posts a video the same night. He's wasted. We can see the guy Miko. He's all fucked up. He's wasted, and he's like, yo, China Mac. He's like, I'ma kill you, nigga. He's just like saying all this shit, and he pulls out a strap. Bro. And this guy, where is he at? He's at a LGBT party, street party, on Dykeman or something. You're there. And he's at this party, and he just keeps like turning the cell phone around, and you see this guy like shaking his booty. You see this guy twerking, and I'm like, bro, what the fuck is going on? And this guy's saying you're not good in the hood anymore, and then it was just going back and forth. Now I think this guy he's on the verge of getting like something bad's gonna happen to him if he gets caught in the wrong hood.
I don't know, man.
So we got into that while you're taking a piss, bro.
Yeah.
Some goofy shit for real. Didn't China Mac get beat up a while ago? He like
by AD.
he like tried to shoot the fair one with somebody
with
and
AD
he
on
got
no
beat
jumper.
up. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
I
with AD
was okay.
Well, they both didn't get beat up, but AD got the best of China Mac in that situation. It is what it is, you know what I mean? At least he shot the fair one. And
Somebody's been talking a little bit too much.
no guns were brought out on that, you know, so that's a good thing. Anyways, back to Onyx and everything. 100 Mad. So
100 Mad. That's
so, bro.
that's the
You
crew.
you have your projects in the works. You don't want to say too much. You don't want to keep some stuff a secret. So when the people get to hear it for the first time, it's fresh and everything. But you mentioned trap beats. You mentioned all these other type of beats, bro.
Oh yeah,
Are we working with somebody that's gonna? Am I gonna hear like some drill project, bro, and like a Fabio 4 and
probably not at this moment. Like I kind of transitioned back to my roots, you know. So
well, I think once you get hit up with the call and you're like,
yeah, no, but this was like even prior to that,
Okay.
I had kind of just went back to making more like, you know, boom bap beats or like what I had started, you know, originally with, you know, doing the East Coast inspired sound, you know. RZA, Muggs, and Alchemist are like that's my top three. You know,
Good
there's
top
LP, DJ Premier. I love all their stuff. You know, and there's a few Dre, of course, but
yeah,
RZA, Muggs, and Alchemist. That's like who I was very inspired by. You know, that sound. You know, boom. Like it could be super intricate or it could be stripped down, and so I like kind of go through cycles of like I'll make a drumless beat or I'll make something that's like, you know, way more like orchestrated. Sometimes I'll use no samples or whatever. But when did I start? I probably like 2017. I started going back to more to that style. Like I guess around like, you know, I'd heard like the Rock Marciano stuff and I was just like, I'm like, yo, I love this stuff, you know. Griselda, of course. Yeah. Like
honestly, I feel like
that,
a lot of people are trying to sound like Derringer right now.
Yeah,
there's a lot of producers that are like
for
baby
sure.
Derringers out there. Like that's, you know,
what I see.
I had been doing that, so I didn't feel like it was just like, oh, I'm trying to jump back on this, you know. Just like, you know, sometimes I'll think that or say, oh, I don't want people to think I'm doing it just because it's just like, no, I just felt like it was just kind of the natural progression of like just going back.
100%.
You know,
and
I saw a story yesterday. What was it? Oh, you had like a crazy session with your Shabo. You got Nicholas Craven over there.
Yeah. Well, this kid from Toronto, Raz Fresco.
Raz Fresco's killing it too. Bro.
I met him like 10 years ago when I was
that track with Raekwon.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And Funk Low was all over that shit too. Shout out to Funk Lorenovich, man.
Lorenovich.
Hustle alumni.
Yeah, he had, I think last year, Raz was down here. He hit up Craven, and they worked on like a project together called Boulangerie, and it was Craven, Mike Shab, Dirtwork has like because that's who I met Raz Fresco like almost 10 years ago in Toronto. I was there DJing at the North by Northeast Festival with the Mook Life crew. And it was in front of the Joey Badass show, and Dirtwork was there, and he was like, "Yo, I want you to meet this kid, Raz Fresco. He's dope." Da, 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 da. So he put me onto him, and I've been a fan ever since. And he's for such a young kid, he's very prolific. He's just like, I guess he's like 27 now. 28. Okay. So when I met him, like he was still a kid, but he had like made all these projects, and like he's like on his 5% shit, like very like Wu-Tang influenced, you know, very like he seems like a kid from the 90s, like New York, polo down, and like, but his thing's Baker's Club. That's his. Like,
well, shout out to Dirtwork for actually linking that, bro.
Yeah, for sure. But it was just like a small interact, like we just talked whatever for a few minutes, but I just remembered his name, Raz Fresco. So then I think last year, Craven had done this project with him, and then when I saw him a few months ago at the Magnum release party, DJ 80 had me DJing there with Pro V, and Craven's like, yeah, I'm going to do Boulangerie 2 with Raz Fresco. He's coming down in a bit. He's like, I want you, Stack Moolah, and 80, a few other producers to like be the producers on it. Shab's going to be there. Whatever. So I was like, all right, cool, I'm down, you know. And then I'd seen like maybe like a week ago, Raz was like, I'm going to be in Montreal till the end of the month working on stuff. And I had like the status or whatever. And then Craven hit me up and he's like, he just wrote "Be Ready." I was like, all right, cool. Say less, you know.
As far as the beats that are getting made, are you guys doing like a collaborative, like 5 guys making the beat?
No.
Because what I see somebody post the other day, I forgot which artist it was. It's an Atlanta artist or something.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I'm tired of stop sending me beats with five
Other
producers.
Yeah, I saw that.
Bobby Schmurda, yeah, that's who it was. That was hilarious.
No, it's not.
I find it's a big thing now. Like a lot of these,
Well, I mean, look at Kanye's albums or any. Like, It's just like there's like it's Mike Dean and then like a bunch of other. It's just like who did what? This guy brought the sample. This guy made the snare. This guy like made the bass line. It's just. That could be cool.
What do you think it's for, though? Do you think it's because they just want everybody to get bread? So, like, bro, we're gonna put
honestly, I don't have an
producers
answer
on this
for
I
that.
think that might have something to do with it, though. To be honest,
I think it could be like everybody gets broken off. You know what I mean? Everybody gets their just desserts. That's what it could be, bro.
For sure,
there's 10 guys on the thing.
yeah.
I'm down to collaborate, but like with one other person. Like me and Craven did a whole project together called Habitant or whatever. And we got all Montreal like rappers, and me and him made all the beats together. Like he would send me a sample, or I would send him a sample, and we'd pick the sample together. I'd do the drums, so it was like a very collaborative thing. It was like we did that over the course of like a few months.
It's great to see, though. It's great to see the producers from the city, bro, actually linking up with all these.
That's
artists
what
that are coming up
I feel like Montreal has really strong right now,
Yeah.
because there are some really good rappers that are like that, are. A bit more under the radar. I'm working with a few. There's this young kid from NDG, Remy Picasso. I'm working on a project with him. He's really dope.
The name's catchy, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
He's really dope. So I hit him up and I was like, yo, let's, do something. But the producers are like, I was part of the Art Beat crew, and now that's like Loop Sessions, and that's like a really cool thing. It's just like a bunch of producers meet up. They pick one record to sample, and you have a few hours.
Who flips it the best or something?
Well, it's not a competition. It's just like a showcase of like, to go there as like just someone that's like watching it's kind of boring because it's just like a bunch of beat makers and
I think
sitting down.
Unless you're
like,
into it,
that's
sure,
it.
for sure,
but then at the end, everyone like plays what they made, and it's like sometimes people make 2 beats, 3 beats. It's usually like 1 beat, but
think of it like iron sharpens iron. You know, what I mean? You're there with the best of them.
But it's the whole record. It's not just like one track, and so it's just like everyone. It usually ends up happening where people sample like the same records, they're the same track or whatever. They're the same 2 or 3 songs, just because that's like the dopest sample, like But that was really cool, and I was part of that, and that helped me like that just like link up with other producers. And I find the producer scene here is very like everyone is like bigging up each other. They're not afraid to be like, whereas rappers are like, oh, I'm all for me. It's just like producers are more like, I want to big up this person. Oh, I think they're dope. So I think there's like a really cool network of like producers in the city that are like, it's like a strong scene, and that they're it's a lot different than rappers.
Well, let's face the facts. Back then, there was always a circle, right? Now I feel it's like the producer circle.
Yeah,
you got the guys, everybody that's like making moves, working with this artist, working with that artist.
But it's also a cycle. I feel like the community, like there's a community again. I feel like for a while there, we kind of lost that communal artistic vibe in the city, and I feel like it's come back with a vengeance now, which is it's kind of cool to see. Even if I'm not a part of it anymore, you know what I'm saying? It's cool to see like that it's coming back.
Show up once in a while, bro.
I know.
Because out of that art beat scene, K Tronada came out of that, Dr. Mad, and Tommy Cruise was more in art, but like for a time, like our city had like a lot of spotlight on it for the beat makers, Shashu, and like it was crazy. It was so I was like, just glad to be kind of part of that in some way, and then from that I built my name up as like a producer in the city. So it's all the things like it's like your resume. It's just like
look, you're
little things, a bunch of little
things. You're building
things.
Up your name. You're working with a lot of well-known guys right now.
Yeah.
I think like the fact that you have the track with Fred Drill, the track with this person, the track with that person, people are gonna be like, bro, I need a beat from Vincent Pryce now.
Yeah, it's happened. People hit me up. They see the picture. They're like, "Oh, you're working with it." Oh.
Exactly. What, like now that this is becoming more of a reality, that you're like, bro, I'm rubbing shoulders with people that
today's price is not yesterday's price.
That too. But who do you have in your mind, bro? Like, if I can make a beat for this rapper, somebody that you've been idolizing all your life, who would it be, bro? Or somebody that you're hearing right now and he's popping hard.
I definitely love to work with Ghostface. The Wu-Tang guy, Action Bronson. I've met him a few times, and like I gave him some beats, like because I did a bunch of Mook Life brought him down for his first Montreal
Action
show.
Bronson.
Yeah, and then like in Toronto at the North by Northeast thing, we like had opened up for him or whatever, like it's DJs and a few. I think Lowe's was there, whatever. So I definitely like to work with him.
Bronson's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Killing it. Been killing it.
As for
it's funny.
new rappers?
It's funny though that you mentioned Ghostface and Bronson.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they have the similar
that duality. He can't help his voice though. I don't think he does it on purpose. That's how he sounds.
Yeah.
You know.
Just definitely the Conway. I'd like to work with him. Yeah, Benny. I have a track with Benny the Butcher, but by proxy, it was like a remix I did for this track. This guy Denku he's from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He's part of 100 Mad too. Yeah. This guy's like he's called the collab king, collab Kong. Like he has collabs with like every artist you could think of.
Okay, so this guy he's putting his money where his mouth is.
Yeah.
Hitting up everybody for a fucking feature.
Basically, some of them did it for free, some you paid, whatever. But,
but even that, like you start off, you get a few, and then once you have that,
and I have a whole project with him that's coming out, and he got like Chauclair and Thrust, OG, like some Canadian legends on the project, and like a few other dope features on there. So he's dope. But yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Well, you mentioned Ghost, you mentioned Action. Those are some good names.
No, I'm sure there's more.
There's more. You just can't think of them right now. You know what I mean? He's not trying to slight anybody out in New York, but he wants to work with everybody out there. Everybody that's buzzing and shit.
Rome Streets. A lot of the new Rock Marciano. I'd love to.
Rock Marcy.
I have a whole list of like people that
I could hear Rock Marcy on your shit. Though. It's like tailor made almost for Rock.
I know I could make something for him that
for sure
he would love. So.
No,
not to.
So
to brag.
like you mentioned, you might be going to New York next week with Perry.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, we'll see.
We'll see what happens. Hopefully, you do go. You have a great time.
Yeah.
I'm thinking some studio work, right? Some shit like that.
Possibly, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got that in the works, bro. You got the family life. Everything is looking good for Vincent Pryce right now. I want you to.
I like to be optimistic. Sometimes everyone has doubt. You go through little slumps. You're just like, oh, that will always happen to me every like few months if I'm not like. Sometimes I take on too much and I'm just like, oh fuck, I'm doing too many things, And then other times I'm just like, oh, and then when I'm done it, I'm like, oh, is this gonna work? Is this gonna, or this is the artist gonna like these beats or whatever? Like you always have self doubt, and then you have other moments where you're just like, oh, I'm doing amazing shit, and it's like, oh, this is gonna change everything, It's just like, and sometimes it does, but it's just like, we're all human. We all
100%.
It's just
it's
like,
emotions,
ups and downs, bro.
Ups and downs.
That's it,
You're right. So let's get into that time of the day, bro. That you're gonna pick up this gem over here,
right?
And you're gonna drop a gem on the people. You're gonna give them some piece of wisdom, something they can take with them, whether it be for production, whether it be raising a family, you know what I mean, or whether it be like jumping around, working with multiple artists all over the world and stuff, bro.
I would say just stay the course. If you're passionate about something and you love it, just keep doing it. And it might take longer than expected, but hard work pays off. And it's just like you never know when. Like I didn't think Perry was gonna call me, and I got all these opportunities. So it's just like if you keep doing something you love, it's bound to like pay off, and like I said, it might not be tomorrow, might not be next year, but it's just like, just keep doing what you love. And if you love it, it's going to pay off. So
no, that's a great piece of advice. Like if you don't put in that blood, sweat, and tears, bro, and you like persevere throughout the whole journey,
right?
And you're just like, oh, I quit. You're never gonna make it. You know what I mean? The fact that you said stay the course, it's a very powerful.
It might be rocky at sometimes. You might have of course.
I was road trip. I was coming back from Ontario yesterday, so I was in the car for like 9 hours. It's reminding me of that Linkin Park song. What's that tidbit in Linkin Park? I tried so hard.
Wrong guy, bro.
I tried so hard.
In the end, it didn't even matter, bro.
See, there you go. So right there, bro, that little tidbit, it actually correlates with what I heard yesterday, and I like that. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
One thing I want to ask before we went, bro, Vincent Pryce.
Yes.
Come on, we know what Vincent Pryce is. That's that creepy dude from the, what's that?
Why you gotta be creepy, bro?
The Thriller. Yeah, he was an actor in a lot of like horror movies.
That guy with the mustache, right?
He had a mustache.
Hello. Is that where you got the name from?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, my name is Vincent, and my last name does start with a P, and it just kind of like in the aesthetic of my beat. Like before, I made a lot more like kind of spookier stuff. I branched out a bit, but still, I've been always like influenced by movies and like movies and music for me were always, they kind of went hand in hand. You know? So I sampled a lot from and it's just like a cool sounding name.
No, it's a good name. I love
Vincent
it.
Pryce with a Y though.
I'm happy I asked before we got off the air because it would have been driving me nuts.
Right,
tonight.
right.
I would have been like, yo, I forgot to ask him why Vincent Pryce, which I already knew the answer.
Because I used to go by Technician. I still have it on my arm, but that was like a name I came up with in high school, and I feel like I kind of like outgrew it. Yeah. I felt like it was kind of like corny, but that came from like I was like the technician in the lab, the studio's the lab. So I was like,
Tech was gonna start beefing with you right there, bro.
Oh yeah,
Tech and Technician.
Not really.
That'd be a good joint.
That could have been
sick project.
No, because I remember when I first heard it. I'm like, oh, I'm like,
Technician and Tech. Bro.
We never ended up working together.
No,
I definitely remember hearing like
I was making noise at one point.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Where could people find you, bro?
Spotify, Bandcamp. On my Bandcamp, vincentpryce.bandcamp.com. My SoundCloud, Instagram.
Price with a Y, by the way.
Yeah, Pryce. Instagram. I have my Facebook fan page, whatever. On my Instagram, if you hit up the link tree, it has the link.
There you go. He's got the link tree, ladies and gentlemen.
If you want to get some beats, hit the man up. Like Tex said earlier, yesterday's price is not today's price. Continue.
But the price is always right.
The price is always right. Continue on to your path of success, bro. You're doing very well.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We're cheering you on, bro.
Likewise.
I'm looking forward to what's going to come in the coming months. So thank you for coming on the show. Thank you everybody for watching another episode of the Hustle Podcast. Peace. We out. The Hustle. My name is Steve Tek, and these are my co-hosts.
And I'm Tek Luciano. You may have heard me on radio. You may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Y'all gon' learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break a fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle. Take money, make money, build a future forever. Even in stormy weather, we execute for treasure. The grind is real, got the willpower. Terrace, how hustle and flow. Rain, sleep, or snow. The odds against me for sure.